Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Laura and this is Kuhn Craft Yoga and Design. And today we have a wonderful, I would call it a yin to vin class because we're going to have some longer holds mixed in with some gentle movements. Great for building up mobility and just to feel better within your body. And also you'll gradually start to build up strength. Keep a lookout for a playlist on my channel. Now I'm going to make a whole section of these series where it's a little mix of the longer holds with the movement. I think they're so beneficial to have a little bit of a mix up. Good for our bodies, good for our minds, and good just to create a variety of what we need in our life. So let's go ahead and get started on our mats. You may want a couple of blocks, maybe even a yoga strap today for the practice. And we're going to get started in a wide-legged child's pose. So I'm going to spin around here. I'm going to take my big toes together and then widen the knees out. Maybe come to the edges of your mat if you can take your knees that wide, and then start to sink the hips back. Maybe extend the arms out long. Allow the forehead to come down to the mat. Taking these first couple of minutes as we start to kind of stop before we get moving. Stopping to assess the body. And to kind of move deeper within oneself. Start to reconnect with the breath. And we'll use our breath throughout the practice as we hold and find stillness in our longer poses. And also to move in and out of our poses that have movement. In your wide-legged child's pose, think of the hips feeling nice and heavy. It's natural if the hips don't want to connect with the heels. If you need support, and to create a little bit more support, if you do have that space between the hips and the heels, you could always fold up a blanket and place it just behind the hamstrings and give yourself something to kind of push back into. On the next inhale, let's go ahead and push up. We're going to come into a tabletop position so the wrists are just underneath the shoulders. And then we're going to have the knees just under the hips. If you need a little padding for your knees, go ahead and take that. From here, we're going to start to walk the arms out and come into our melting heart or puppy pose. So walking the arms out nice and long, keep the hips over the knees, and then start to reach the chest down towards the mat. Maybe your forehead comes to rest on the mat. If it feels better, you can also take the chin towards the mat as well. I'm going to have my chin just hovering so that I'm not squishing into my mic here. But if you are taking the chin option, just make sure that this feels okay on your neck. With some practice, maybe you'll still be able to talk through this if you have your chin up and resting on the mat. But in our puppy pose, keep breathing. Allow the belly just to fall and the belly button to reach down just as the chest is reaching for the mat. Opening into the underside of the armpit. Tapping into the breath to find the release into the upper back. Very good. On an inhale, let's go ahead and start to bend into the elbows. We're going to shift forward, allow the belly to come to the mat, hips meet the mat, widen out the feet just a little bit so you make space for your lower back. And then we'll go ahead and have the elbows just a couple of inches in front of the shoulders so you have room to make this beautiful, gentle back bend coming into our Sphinx pose. Breathing in our Sphinx, we're going to lift the chest up, reaching that heart center forward and up to the front of the room. And then think of the crown of the head reaching tall for the ceiling. So imagine you have a pile of books on the top of your head and you don't want them to fall off. We want to keep that crown reaching tall and avoid crunching into the back of the neck. So think of a nice smooth back of the neck. Shoulders are falling away from the ears, creating a nice long neck. From here, we're going to take a prone quad stretch. Now you could stay upright, and I'll show you that variation first. Take the right hand and cross it in front of you at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to use that right forearm as a kickstand, and then start to draw those left toes in. From here, you can use a strap, or you can reach back, maybe grab a hold of the toes with your left hand, and then if you're able, drawing the left heel in towards the glutes, start to spin those left fingers so that they face the front edge of the mat. And you can use the weight in the left arm to create a little bit more leverage and press that left foot into the left glutes. From here, I like to create a little more activation into this quad stretch by pressing my left knee and my left quad down into the mat. Pressing into the mat for 1, 2, 3. Relax that left quad. Maybe you can get a little bit more closer to the glutes with that left heel. We'll try that again. Press into the mat for 1, 2, 3. And relax the quad. Continuing with the stretch, notice how when I do press into the mat, you barely notice the movement there, but there is still quite a bit of activation. I'm not just relaxing into the stretch. If you want to remove the back bend from this quad stretch, you can go ahead and take the forehead all the way to the back of the right hand. You may need to make some adjustments. With your left hand, it might be a little harder to keep the fingertips spinning towards the front of the mat. But either way, try to keep that left elbow up and opening into that left shoulder. Kind of a twofer here, getting an opening stretch into the shoulder and into the left quad. Wherever you're at, gently release the left toes down. You can return back to your Sphinx. Take a nice inhale here. And exhale. Let's go ahead and take the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to push back onto all fours. From here, let's step the right foot up and bring it to the outside of that right hand, coming into our lizard or baby dragon as it's known in yin. You can have the hands on the mat or to blocks, or you can take the forearms all the way down to the mat. I'm going to stay a little bit higher today. This is my first lizard for the day, so I feel a little bit tight, especially after a lot of working out this weekend. So this is where I'm going to stay. Holding in our lizard stretch. Staying for this longer hold, let's start to create some activation in our lizard pose. And we'll do so, again, you will barely notice or not notice at all any movement as I make this activation. I'm going to start to pull the right heel back, like I'm trying to create a wrinkle into my mat. So this is activating those right hamstrings. Also, I'm going to start to push into the mat with the left knee and the left shin. Like I'm trying to fold my mat just using my legs. At the same time, I have a slight tuck of the tailbone. I'm letting my head and my neck relax. If you had the activation, just go ahead and release it. Allow everything to relax now. find yourself able to soften. Maybe you can lower, maybe you come a little bit further, maybe down into the forearms, maybe onto blocks. We'll hold here for about 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, on an inhale, if you're lower down, let's come up onto our hands. And we're going to shift that right foot, bring it to the center. So we're in this low lunging position for now. And then let's shift back. We're going to come into our half splits, a little hamstring stretch before moving on. So the left hip can stay above the left knee. You may notice that mine isn't quite in alignment. That is due to some injury I have into my left knee. So being slightly off and having my hips behind my knee is easier and less painful. You can also pad the knee if that feels good. Tuck the back toes if that feels good as well. Remember, we have lots of options, lots of ways to make it great and safe for everybody. Hands can come to blocks, or you can come to fingertips on either side of that right foot, flexing into the right foot and draw the toes up towards the nose or the ceiling. From here, we're just going to fold forward and breathe into this very intense hamstring stretch. Now for a little activation, we're going to press that left heel into the mat. Maybe have a micro bend in that right knee. You might notice if you have a very slight bend in the right knee, you'll feel this in a different spot on your hamstrings. Play around with your shapes. Press that right heel into the mat. Draw those toes further back. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Exhale. Release the activation. We're going to shift forward and we're going to bend into that right knee and then start to walk that right foot a little closer towards your body so that the right knee is in a 90-degree angle. And we're going to go ahead and shift the left knee over to the right side of the mat like a little kickstand. From here, you may want your block and have it just on the outside edge, that pinky toe edge of the right foot. We're going to come up to an upright position. Again, check our alignment. The right knee should be in a 90-degree angle and the left knee and foot should be off like a kickstand. From here, we're going to take a gentle side stretch. Lower the right hand all the way to the mat if you can get it there, or to a block, adjust its height. And we're going to lift the left arm up and then back at a diagonal, like we're going towards that upper right edge of the mat. And then a big side stretch. Inhale. Maybe shift the hips more towards the left. You'll feel a bigger stretch into that left hip flexor. And when you're ready, we're going to come back to an upright position. Arms can come out to a T, perhaps moving the block off to the side so that you have a little bit more space. And we're going to come into gate. So the left hand can go down. You're going to have the right leg extended out long, and we're going to lift the right arm up and over. Now we're getting a beautiful lateral stretch on the outside of that right side body. Press into the outer pinky edge toe, pinky side of the right foot. And then we're going to inhale, come through center, right hand to the outside of the right thigh, side stretch, reaching with the left fingertips. Inhale up, exhale it over. Inhale up, exhale to the right. Inhale back to center, exhale, left, reaching with those right fingertips. And then we're going to inhale back up to center. Arms are out long. We're going to take a little bit of core work, a little balancing work here, keeping the arms out like little airplane wings. We're going to start to shift forward. You may need to push the hips back slightly. Reach the chest down, keeping the chest parallel with the earth, pressing into that right foot. And then let's lift up. We'll take 4 more of those. Lower down for 1. Lifting up for 2. Down and up. Lower down, activate the core. And last one, lowering down and reaching up. Very good. We're going to lower down once more and hold. Take a deep inhale. And exhale. Let's release the hands to the mat. Draw the right foot in. We're going to come into this sideways tabletop. And let's go ahead and shift our weight just sitting onto the left hip. Coming into a variation of deer pose. We'll stagger the legs so we have this 90-90 position. The left shin is parallel with the left edge of the mat. And the right shin is parallel with the top. From here, you can absolutely stay right here in your deer pose, but I invite you to try to take a twist. Staying up high at first, take an inhale, and then exhale, start to walk the hands out. Lower onto the forearms, maybe even lowering all the way down onto your belly, whatever feels good for you today. And we'll hold in this twisted position. Seeking out that stillness between the movement, using our breath to quiet our thoughts. On an inhale, let's go ahead and walk our hands back, coming out of the twist, bringing ourselves back around to face that top edge of the mat, and we're going to roll down onto our backs, coming into a happy baby. So letting our low back connect with the mat, start to draw the heels up and reach for the ceiling, maybe grabbing the outside edge of the feet with your hands. If that's not accessible, you could always use a couple of straps or even hold on to your yoga pants. And from here, we're going to hold in our happy baby. Use the weight of the arms to draw the knees in towards the armpits. Feel that connection of the lower back into the mat, feeling grounded into the earth and supported in your practice. When you're ready, you can draw both of the knees into the chest. Give your knees a nice squeeze. Allow the hips and the tailbone to feel heavy towards the mat. And you could start to place the hands either at the front of the shins or the back of the thighs, and then roll yourself back up to a seated position. From here, I am going to spin myself around to face the opposite side of my mat, just so you don't end up seeing the wrong side for the rest of this practice. But we're going to come in through our tabletop, and again, we're going to walk our hands out to puppy pose. Just a shorter puppy pose this time. Again, exploring the shape, allowing your forehead to come to the mat, or maybe the chin to come to rest to the mat, depending on what feels good today. You can also create a little more space into the shoulders, into the upper back and arms by having the hands or the fingers just on their fingertips. So I have these little kind of spider fingers out, imagining like I have really fluffy frosted cupcakes underneath my hands, and I don't want to squish the cupcakes. Getting a bigger stretch into the shoulders as I still am trying to reach the mat with the chest. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and snake our body forward. Again, coming onto our belly. Hips reach the mat. Maybe wiggle the hips out just slightly, opening up the feet so we have a little bit more space. And from here, we're going to take the hands just in front of the shoulders and maybe to the outside edge of the mat just slightly. We're going to take a few of little baby cobra rolls here. So elbows are up and lifted out to the side. We're going to inhale, lead with the chest, and then follow with the neck and the head. Exhale, again, lead with the chest, lower down, follow with the head coming last. Inhale up, rolling up, baby cobra. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. We'll take that 3 more times. Very good. Well, on the next time that we lower, we're going to go ahead and come into Sphinx pose. This time coming through Sphinx and then going into that quad stretch, this time on the right side. So if you are staying upright in your quad stretch, we'll take the left hand out like a little kickstand. Use that as support. Draw the right toes in. Give a big reach for those right toes. Maybe you go ahead and spin the right fingertips towards the front edge of your mat and lifting that elbow up towards the sky. Again, that gives us that double whammy of a nice little shoulder stretch and also the stretch into the quad. We'll hold here. You can stay upright, but again, you can lower down and have your forehead resting on the back of that left hand if it's too much of a back bend for you. We're going to activate into this quad stretch. On the next inhale, let's push that right knee into the mat, feeling that right quad connect with the mat, like you're trying to create a dent in the earth. We'll hold here. Release that activation. You can maybe allow things just to relax. Sometimes I find giving the foot a little wiggle allows the quad to relax. Let's activate once more by pressing that right knee into the mat for 3, 2, and 1. And let's release and relax. Very good. Let's release that right foot back to the mat. We'll come through Sphinx. Take a nice inhale. And then exhale. Let's go ahead and bring the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to push back, preparing for lizard pose on that opposite side. So let's step that left foot up and to the outside of the left hand. Again, starting up higher. If you are a little tight to start the day, or if you're ready, you can lower all the way down onto your forearms. Wherever you're at, we're going to hold in our lizard pose for a few breaths. Allowing the hips to sink. Feeling it out with the breath. And then we're going to create some activation just like we did in the other few exercises. This time by bringing that left heel, pushing it down, and then drawing it back like you're trying to draw and connect the left heel towards the right knee. At the same time, we're going to push into the mat with the right shin. Really feel everything light up, that whole backside of the body. You should even feel the glutes firing up, the back of that left hamstring. You're activating into the arch of the left foot. Release that activation. Allow yourself to relax in the posture once more. Maybe the hips feel a little bit heavier. Let's try that once more by pushing into that left heel, drawing it back. Maybe you actually are creating a wrinkle in your mat and starting to pull the pieces of the mat together because you're pushing so strongly into your heel and into your shin. And then release. Maybe you feel you're a little bit more closer to your mat than you were before. A little bit looser into that left hip. We're going to start to walk the left foot over towards the midline and then push back into our half splits on this side. So drawing the left toes up and then start to bring the hands either to blocks or walk them out in front of you. I like to keep a little micro bend into my left knee. And then from here, creating that activation by pressing into that left heel. Feel the toes draw back a little further. Press the heel into the mat for 3, 2, 1. Release. Relax that left leg. Maybe fold over a little bit more over to your leg. And then when you're ready, we're going to press into the left heel. Try to draw the left heel back like you're creating a wrinkle in the mat. Really push hard for 3, 2, 1. And then release, relax into your half splits pose. And then inhale, we're going to shift forward, bending that left knee so that we have a nice 90-degree angle on the front side here. And then you can start to kick that right knee back into a little kickstand position. Coming up, you can stay perfectly upright. You can also have your hand to a block. Coming to the outside, pinky edge of that left foot. And we're going to take a little bit of a lateral stretch here. Hand to the block, reaching the right arm up and over towards that opposite diagonal edge. And then press back into those right hips. Feel that opposition as you move the right fingertips away from the right hips. Like they're just trying to spread the side body, open up. Take an inhale. Exhale, release. On the next inhale, we're going to come upright, bring the arms out to a T, maybe move the block aside. And then we're going to take that right hand, connect it down to the mat, extend the left leg out long so that you're really pressing into the outside edge of the left foot. We'll start to reach back with those left fingertips for our gate pose. On an inhale, use the strength in the core to bring yourself upright to a T. And then exhale, we'll stretch once more, this time reaching with the right fingertips. Maybe the gaze comes up. You can also have the neck to neutral. We'll come back through center, arms to a T. Let's inhale, reach back, right hand connects with the earth. Exhale, come up, and then come over. Inhale up, reach. Exhale, return through center, and then reach towards the opposite side. On the next inhale, let's come up through center. We're going to stay right here. We're going to take that core/balance exercise by starting to reach the chest forward. To make the chest and torso parallel with the earth. Again, you might need to shift slightly back with the hips. Press into that outer edge of the left foot for stabilization, and then come back to an upright. We're going to lower down for 2. Rise up for 2. lower down, lift up for 3, lower down, lift up for 4, last one, lower down, lift up for 5. This time we're going to lower and we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's place the hands down, come through tabletop by drawing that left knee in, and then we'll go ahead and sit onto the right hip. Coming into our deer pose on this side, take the right shin parallel with the long edge of your mat and the left shin parallel with the back side of your mat. From here, we're going to start a twist. If you feel in a twisting mood today, and then maybe you start to lower yourself down onto your forearms or even all the way onto your belly. This is definitely a tighter side for me for the twist. Feeling it into the outside of the left hip, all the way up into the back. A wonderful, glorious movement for the low back, getting some gentle twists in throughout your day. Again, we'll hold here and find our stillness. As we stay here in these longer holds, again, this is valuable time to pay attention to what we have going on throughout our body, not in just the very obvious movements of the twist, where you have these very strong connections with the hips and even into the forearms and shoulders if you're twisted up in the torso. But those other small connections throughout the body. Are you relaxing between the ears and the shoulders? Can you find softness within the face and jaw? Allowing the muscles of the face and the forehead to smooth. It's those deeper connections that we want to seek. And we want to allow ourselves, give ourselves permission to settle and to unwind. On the next inhale, we're going to come up if we were lowered down, and we're going to unravel our twists. Come to a seated position, again facing the top edge of your mat, and then we're going to roll down onto our backs. We're going to start with a couple of, with our reclined figure 4. I love, love, love this stretch. We're going to take that right foot, cross it over the top of the left knee. You can stay right here and intensify the stretch by just pressing into that inner thigh with your right hand. If you want to take it a little deeper, we're going to draw that left knee in, and then that right hand can come right through that little space we've created, and then draw the left shin in towards the chest. Keep the right foot flexed. This allows the right knee to be more protected by activating the muscles and the stabilizers in that right shin. The left foot can just kind of be hanging out there doing whatever it wants. I notice a lot of times if my right foot is flexed, my left foot automatically wants to mimic it, and it's not something I'm intentionally doing. My brain just wants to do that. So sometimes having the left foot relaxed is actually more of a challenge for me to have it doing its own thing. Holding into this reclined figure 4, if you are drawing that left knee in, at the same time, you could also press that right elbow into that inside of the right thigh. Give yourself a big old stretch. Inhale and exhale it out. From here, we'll lower that left foot down to the mat, and we're going to go ahead and press the left foot down, lift the hips up so that we shift them over to the right side of the mat, about 1 or 2 inches. So the spine is out of alignment. And then we're going to drop the left foot to the mat and allow the right foot to the mat and the left knee to come to rest. From here, we're taking a reclined twist, a little variation. If this is too much for you, you could always just stack the right knee on top of the left. And then the right hand can come out to a cactus shape. The left maybe mimicking with a cactus shape as well. If you would like, you can also take the gaze to look to the right hand. If you've taken my classes before, you know that I enjoy just keeping my neck neutral in this version of the spinal twist. I much prefer to have the twist going throughout my spine versus into my neck. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and inhale the feet back up through center. Go ahead and uncross that right leg, and then we're going to switch the legs out by drawing the left foot over the right knee. Again, staying right here if this is where it feels good for you today. Maybe pressing to that inside of that inner left thigh with the left hand, and then start to draw the right knee in. If you want to go a little further, having the hands intertwined, the fingers intertwined to the outside of that right shin or to the backside of the right thigh. And then maybe pressing a little bit, using that left elbow to press into the inside of the left thigh. Maybe noticing some big differences here between the right and the left. Totally natural. Sometimes it changes from day to day. And when you're ready, you can release the hold of the hands. Allow that right foot to come to the earth. Keeping the left ankle crossed, we're going to lift the hips up and place them over to the left just a little bit, so that we're going to have, once we move into our spinal twist, having the hips shifted over to the side like this will help keep us in alignment so that we come right onto the outside edge of that right hip. Now from here, you can certainly keep the sole of the left foot flat on the floor and twist it as I am, or you can just go ahead and allow the left knee to stack right on top of the right. And then when you're ready, go ahead and take the hands out to a beautiful cactus shape, elbows at a 90-degree position. Option to take the gaze towards the left. Enjoying these last couple of moments in our twist. Finally, we'll start to unwind. Soles of the feet to the mat. And from here, let's go ahead and finish with a constructive rest pose. Taking the feet out wide so they're on the outer edges of the mat. And then from here, we'll just allow the knees to come in and rest against each other, providing a little bit of support for the low back. And then you can have the hands certainly open up wide into a low V, or you can take the option. I'm going to take my hands into a diamond shape with the fingertips of the index fingers and the thumbs just touching. So I have this diamond shape, and I'm going to allow that to come over the top of my belly button, just fitting into the lower portion of my pelvis, and we'll close in our Shavasana. Reconnecting with our mat, again, taking time out to stop before we go. Take this time to assess how you feel in your body, any heat you've created, any looseness within the hips, maybe some opening into the chest and shoulders, some softness throughout, softness and gentleness that you can carry with yourself off of your mat today. Maybe share that with others. Because this special light that is within ourselves needs to be shared. We all possess a warmth and a kindness. If we nurture that kindness, that warmth can grow, and it can spread to others and be felt on a very large level. Feel this connection with yourself and with others, even as you practice. No matter when you are practicing this flow, know that your warmth and the energy that you send out is felt by countless of others who share this energy with you. Stay here as long as you like. If you are ready to awake from your stillness, you can take the legs out long and then stretch the arms up overhead. We're going to take a great big stretch to reawaken ourselves, feeling everything tighten as we stretch, and then relax as we release out of the stretch. Draw the knees up and in, maybe rolling onto your side and pushing yourself up to come back to the center of your mat. From here, let's just cross our legs, and we'll all connect once more as we take one great big inhale. Draw the arms up to the sky and reach the palms down through heart center as you close your practice. As always, thanks for joining me on my channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notifications of new practices every single Sunday here on this channel. And you can also find me on Instagram for loads of tips and just fun videos every single day. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, have a great day and make it a good one. Bye.